What is up YouTube? This is Alex aka Foreign. So a few weeks ago NVIDIA released the GTX 1070 Ti as an answer to AMD's RX Vega 56, which is a great card in my opinion, but unfortunately marred by some controversy and bad decisions by AMD. So today we're going to look at 26 different board partner cards for the GTX 1070 Ti, and I'll talk about which certain cards to choose if you're looking for one thing or the other, for instance value or the best cooling and temperatures, or just the cheapest best card you can find. So ASUS has three models they've advertised: the flagship ROG Strix for $500, the ASUS Turbo OC for $450, and the ASUS Cerberus that I just couldn't find any info on, unfortunately. Now the ASUS ROG Strix is one of the best coolers ASUS is making and one of the best coolers in the business in general, I think, but for $500 in my opinion you'd be much better off adding those 10 to 20 bucks and getting a GTX 1080. The ASUS Turbo OC for $450 is your typical blower style cooler. It will do its job fairly loudly and will not help keep your temperatures low, but it's a good fit for small form factor cases or just builds with poor airflow. The blower style card is a very good choice because it sucks air from the inside of your case and blows it outside. The ASUS Cerberus looks like a card that would cost around $470, but unfortunately there's literally no information or reviews on this card on the web. So in the future, for $470, this would be just basically the same value as any other typical 1070 Ti out on the market. Colorful is, as far as I know, a Chinese company that has been making strides into the Western market recently. On paper, their coolers look very good. Both have 3 fans and a pretty beefy heatsink. And in my opinion, if they would cost $470, maybe a max of $480, then both of these cards would be a great choice. EVGA, known for their extremely good customer support and build quality of their graphics cards, have a few, and they actually have the most expensive 1070 Ti, the hybrid, for $530, which is in my opinion kind of absurd. You'd be much better off just getting a Strix 1080 or a Gaming X 1080 for this money. But for $450, you can get the typical blower style cooler, which in my opinion looks the best out of all the blower type GTX 1070 Ti's. For $470, you can get the SC Gaming ACX 3.0, and for $500 you can get the ICX cooler. So the difference between the ICX and the ACX coolers is the ACX was here basically from the 700 series of the GeForce GTX graphics cards, and as you may have remembered from past year, EVGA had a problem with exploding capacitors, so that's why they dropped the ACX branding. But they still make these coolers. The capacitor problem is now gone, so it's safe to say that you can buy this card and nothing will happen. The ICX cooler is definitely a bit better. It has these extra thermal sensors on the PCB of the card, so you can play around with looking at different temperatures of the components on your card. But paying $500 for that is, in my opinion, kind of expensive. You'd be, again, better off just getting a GTX 1080. Gainward is a very interesting company. I couldn't find much pricing information on it, but where I live, for instance, the Gainward card is actually the best value GTX 1080 you can buy. So it's around 540 euros. Basically the same price or even a bit less than a flagship GTX 1070. If you can find this card for $460, I think it'd be a great buy, and this black card fits very nicely into black builds, and my guess is that it's around the MSRP of the GTX 1070 Ti, so most likely $450 USD. Now let's go to Galax. Galax is a company that makes the Hall of Fame graphics cards. So the GTX 1080 HOF or Hall of Fame and 1080 Ti Hall of Fame are literally the best air coolers on the market, and in my opinion the best looking. For the 1070 Ti, they aren't making a Hall of Fame, so they have this EX Sniper edition, so to say. The white card is here and the black card, they're basically the same. The white is just white, and I think it's the best solution for a purely white build. If you want a graphics card that is pure white, then the Galax EX White Edition is the best choice in my opinion. Now the Galax Virtual is your typical blower style cooler for $450 USD most likely, and nothing more to say here. Gigabyte has only two cards. We can talk about the Gigabyte Windforce for $450 USD, which is a great cooler for the price in my opinion, and the Gigabyte Gaming for $490 USD, which is a bit expensive. So for $470 I could see this selling, but for $490 not really. And what surprised me is that Gigabyte hasn't released an Aorus 1070 Ti yet. Right now is late November, so maybe in a month, 2 or 3, the Aorus Extreme card will be on the market for 500 USD. And again, if you're looking at that card, in my opinion, you should buy a GTX 1080. Now let's go to MSI, who have the largest selection of graphics cards. The MSI Aero is your typical 450 USD blower cooler. The MSI Gaming is what we are very much used to since the 700 series basically. For $490, in my opinion, kind of expensive, but MSI has been listening to us fans, and the red here on the MSI Gaming card is finally starting to go away. So the Msi Quicksilver Edition of the GTX 1070, if I'm not mistaken, was a limited edition, so you couldn't buy all the time and it cost a little bit more money, and MSI decided to make it non-limited. So the Msi Titanium, that it's called now, for $490 is a much better cooler than the Galax here, the white one, but it's also kind of white. So if you're looking at a white PC but want the best white graphics card you can buy in the sub $500 price range, so to say, the Msi Titanium, in my opinion, would be the best choice. The Msi Armor Cooler is, well, pretty bad as far as I know, as far as I've worked with it. Even on the GTX 1060, it's kind of hot and it's kind of loud. So on the 1070, 1070 Ti, 1080 and 1080 Ti, I would highly recommend you to avoid the armor coolers in general. But the most interesting card out of all of these 26 GTX 1070 Ti's, in my opinion, is the MSI Duke. For $470, you're getting a huge radiator, 3 large diameter fans, no extra fluff like RGB or lights or whatever. You're getting just hardcore silence and cooling. In my opinion, the MSI Duke is the best value GTX 1070 Ti on the market right now. PNY, they're basically very tightly connected to Gainward, and they have the blower style black cooler for $450, your typical blower cooler, and the PNY V2, which is basically the same cooler as the Gainward black card here, just with a slightly different shroud. And for $460, it's, well, it's okay. Last but not least, let's talk about Zotac. Zotac's a very interesting company because they are the ones who are making the 1070, 1070 Ti now, 1080 and 1080 Ti mini cards. So cards that fit very well into small form factor builds or a very tiny console-sized PCs basically. What surprises me the most is that it costs only $450, so basically the MSRP. If you're making a tiny computer that has limited space in it for the graphics card, then I would advise to get the mini card. The AMP edition is your typical $470 open air card. Well, basically, if you're choosing in the $470 price range, it's okay. And for the $500 flagship price, Zotac is offering the AMP Extreme, their flagship model, which is a triple slot, 3 fan, huge heatsink cooler. But again, 500 USD, you're much better off just getting a GTX 1080. All right, that's all for the cards. Let's talk about what I would recommend to buy. So the best overall value GTX 1070 Ti, so you pay the least for the best cooling and the best temperatures and the best noise levels, would be the MSI Duke card here. $470 USD, you're getting a triple fan, huge heatsink cooler, no extra fluff, just pure hardcore temperatures and silence. In my opinion, the Duke card is the best if you're willing to spend $470. If you only have a maximum of $450, and you still want the 1070 Ti, then what I would recommend would actually be the Gigabyte GTX 1070 Ti Windforce for $450, because as you can see here, it has a bigger heatsink here and two large fans, and costing only $450, the MSRP of the 1070 Ti. In my opinion, that's the best, cheapest 1070 Ti. Out of the blower style cards, then basically just get whatever you want, whatever you think looks best, or whatever's the cheapest. There is close to no difference between the performance of those cards. But if you actually want to spend $500 on the best 1070 Ti, then I would recommend the ASUS Strix for $500. If you can find it for $470, that would be the best deal. It has the best cooling solution, it has the best design in my opinion, and it has those extra fan headers that you can connect to the card to help cool your system, which is very, very awesome. So that's it for this video. I hope this could somehow help you. If it actually did, and you are planning to buy one of these cards that I recommend here, then please use the links I provided down in the description below. If you use one of those affiliate links, if you're from the UK, US, or Germany, if you use one of those links and buy something after going to that link, then you will still get the product. You will not lose anything, you will not pay extra, but I will get a small kickback from that purchase. And this will help the channel grow and help other people in the future with more graphics card releases further down the line. All the things that I talked about, including this spreadsheet, will be linked down in the description below, so make sure to check out the description. Also, if you own a 1070 Ti or you are planning to buy one, let me know in the comments section down below what you got or what you're getting and why. If you enjoyed this content, then maybe consider subscribing as well. I thank you for your attention and hope to see you later.